Welcome students. Today we are going to see in this second lecture of the C++ concepts related to concepts related to object oriented programming. Concepts related to object oriented programming. Now take the title. Now in last period, in yesterday's period, we have seen what is C++. We have started studying C++. What is C++? C++ is a programming language, no doubt. But what is the feature of C++? The feature of C++ is that it is an object-oriented programming. So obviously question arises, what is in by object-oriented programming? So we have seen there are various types of programming styles. Very first, yesterday we have started C++ and we have seen what is the C++. C++ is an object-oriented programming language. Basically, it is a programming language, no doubt. But what is the feature? What is the speciality of C++? The speciality feature of C++ programming language is it is an object-oriented programming language. So there are various types of programming language. Generally, we are aware of. We are aware their names of programming languages. But what is the feature of C++? It is an object-oriented programming language. And what exactly mean by object-oriented programming language? That also we have seen by studying the three styles of the programmings. You again remember, not three types of programming language, three styles, actually approaches we can say. Approach. I am not saying three types of programming language, three approach of programming. So first we have seen structured programming language. Yesterday we have seen it. Once again we are revising. In structured programming language, way back we have to write down the set of instructions. Program that is set of instructions. We have to write down the set of instructions in continuous manner. Thousands of instructions. The set of instruction, single, only one consolidated program. So, such type of programming approach, structured programming approach, in which programmer require a lot of time, because say 1000 instructions program is there. Program that is set of instruction we know. But suppose it requires 1000 instructions. One program requires 1000 instructions. So writing the 1000 instructions, consolidate single, only one segment, that is time consuming for programmer. Then we know after all it is the high level in which keywords and reserved words are used. So translating them into the 1 and 0, that is also time consuming. And apart from this, it is time consuming for the CPU also to execute them. It is time consuming for microprocessor to execute them. Thus, looking toward these drawbacks, new approach was invented. That was called as function oriented. In function oriented programming approach, instead of writing only one consolidated lengthy program, the program can be divided into number of small programs. Instead of writing only one consolidated program, program can be divided into number of small programs. and every such small program is called as function. So function is also a program, but small program. So instead of writing only one program, if program is divided into number of small programs, every such small program is called as function, and such programming approach was called as function oriented approach, function oriented programming style. But we have seen there are also drawbacks, some flaws. What are those? The data of one function can be accessed by another function. That's why data is not secure. Since suppose there are 1000 instructions and 1000 instructions are divided into 4 small parts, the 4 functions will be there. So function f1, f2, f3, f4, say. So data of f1 can be accessed by function f2, or data of f2 can be accessed by function f1. So data is not secure. So looking toward this drawback, third one approach is invented. That approach is called as object-oriented programming approach, in which data and functions are binded together. Data and function are binded together, closely binded, tightly binded. Now you can ask the question, what this is? This is a capsule. This is a binding. This is a tie-up of what? Only 2 things, data and function. That is called as object. That is called as object. So what exactly mean by object, and what exactly mean by object-oriented programming approach or style? Data and function are binded together, closely binded together. Data and functions are tied together. Data and functions are capsuled. So you can use any word. Data and functions are binded together. Data and functions are tied together. Data and functions are capsuled. So this is a binding. So what will happen? Suppose data is x or function is f1 and function is f1. Now you can ask the question, what is in the again function? Function f1, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. f1 is the function, and function is nothing but small program. Function is nothing but small program. So data x, function f1. So this function is only having the rights, the authority, the permission to access the access. What do you mean by access? Access means to manipulate it. So the data x, whatever the x, is equal to 5, is equal to 10, is equal to 15, whatever x, it can be processed by function f1 only, that is program f1 only. That's why it is called as object. One more object we can have, this one. So there is also a data, there is also a function. So this is also a object. Now we will name object A, object B. Let us see. Now suppose in this object B, data is y and function is f2. Now what is again object? Once again object. Object is nothing but binding of data and function or capsule of data and function. That's why now let us suppose we have created two objects, object A, object B. Object A is having data x and function f1. Object B is having data y and function f2. Now you see, this is also binding, this is also binding. Now f1 cannot access the y. The data y cannot be processed by f1 because data y belongs to object B, whereas function f1 belongs to A. Similarly, data x cannot be accessed by function f2 because data x belongs to object A and f2 belongs to object B. Thus, data is secure. And that is the biggest striking feature, first feature of object-oriented programming style, that is data is secure. And this style of programming is called as object-oriented programming, and C++ is an object-oriented programming language. I think you have got it. So we will continue. Now, you may ask the question. What is your question? You may ask. You can ask the question. Yes, we got what is meant by object. The term object stands for, it is a binding, it is the capsule of data and function. So we have created the object A. Similarly, we have created another object that is of binding data y and function f2, that is object B. But question arises, how practically object is to be created? How to create the object? That's why now as we have studied the concept object, it means we have to see how to create the object. Question is important, how to create the object. Question. How to create the object? Because until we create the object, we can't say it is the object-oriented programming. Because in 11th standard also we have seen C++ programs. But in 11th standard we didn't create any object. You might be remembering if you have saw the videos or offline class. In 11th standard also we have seen the C++ programs, but never we didn't created an object. Yes, so that was not object-oriented programming. For 12th standard we are studying object-oriented programming. Thus up to what we have seen the C++, from that point we have to continue. So question is how to create the object. Before that, it is important that what is in by object, that is to be clear. So we have seen object is a capsule, object is a binding of what? Of data and function. So in examination question will be asked, write short note on following terms for 1 marks. Object. So some students write, object is an entity that binds data and functions together. Data of an object can be accessed by the function of same object. That is the important. But how to create the object? Question. Object is created by using the concept of class. How to create the object? So answer I am writing now. Object is created by defining the class. Defining the class. Now you can again ask the question, what is meant by class? Just we have merely understood what is meant by object. Again, question when asked how to create the object, then answer is object is created by defining the class. Then what is meant by class? You see, what we have seen about the object. Object is capsule. Capsule of what? Data and function. So it is the binding of only two things, data and function. No third ingredient is there. Only data and function is there. Only two things are there. So object is a binding of only data and function. Two ingredients are collected and binding. As we have seen in object A, we have collected x, we have collected one function f1, we have binded, and that we have named object A. Then we have created another object, data y, function f2, we have binded, and we have named it object B. But how to specify it? That we want an object, there will be data whose name will be x, there will be one function whose name is f1, and what the function f1 will do, that also we have to specify. Thus, what is class? Class is a way to specify. Class is a way to specify data and functions together. Class is a way to specify. Class is a way to specify data and functions. Now, only two terms today we are seeing. First of all, we have revised what yesterday we have seen what is in by object oriented. Again, in 2 minutes we will revise. What is C++? C++ is a programming language. What is its feature? It is an object oriented programming. What is in by object oriented programming? In which there is object. What is in by object? Object is binding, object is capsule of two things, data and function. But question arises, how to create the object? Whenever anything is to be created, first we have to specify how you want it. As an architecture draw the map of a building, according to that building is constructed. So whatever the map is drawn by the architecture, that is nothing but specification. And how building is constructed, that is outcome. Similarly, class is a way to specify data and functions. So how data is specified, what functions are specified, the place is class. And once your specification is over, you can create the object. As to have to construct a building, first you have a map, architecture, draw a map, layout. So unless until layout is there, no building will be constructed. Similarly, unless until you specify, class is a way to specify. So unless until you specify data and functions, you can't create the object. And hence, in an object-oriented programming, object is important. And object is created. How it is created? It is created by using class, because in a class we can specify data and functions. So two things today we have seen, that is data and function, object and class. So object consists of data and functions. So what type of data and function you want in that object, that you have to specify where in the place there is class. So class is a way to specify data and functions, and how you specify the class, according to that you will get the object. As how the architecture draw a layout, map, the same building will be constructed. Similarly, how you specify the class, you will get the object. So, class and object, two things we have seen today. So written notes will be given. Yesterday what we have seen, its written notes will be also given, and today what we have seen, the written notes will be given in text format, PDF, Word, whatever it may be. So I think at least today you have got two concepts, that is object and class. So today we will stop here. Thank you.